I'm Sarina Fazan, taking a risk, making a difference, and changing the course of your life. Remarkable stories from people defying the odds. You're listening to On the Record. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarina Fazan, and thank you so much for joining us for On the Record on my favorite podcast of all, Love in America. And right now, my love tank is overflowing. It is past full because I have my mentor here, Brendan McLaughlin, and his beautiful wife, who is also one of my mentors, Sandy McLaughlin. You know, I love your guys' love story.
Oh, thank you.
I just love the McLaughlin. So, okay, I'm going to let them talk, I promise. But the crew has said, you're so hyper. And I'm so hyper because I'm so excited to sit next to you, kind of, again, Bren.
Well, I know. I mean, we worked together for how many years? It was 10, 12,
yes.
13 years. And it's great. It's a privilege to be here. It's awesome to see you doing this. Unfortunately, Sandy and I got in a big fight on the way over here, so I don't know if it's going to be good for you.
Sorry we were late.
You did?
No
way. See, okay, so this is about, with Brendan, I would always say, and I wish I remember the line, he has, all right, not to digress on our love in America, but what separates the men from the boys, I've always said with anchors and females, is that, of course, anybody can really read off a prompter. It's the people who can do breaking news and the one-liners, and you're so funny. And in speaking, you're hilarious, like with your one-line. I believe
no
it.
pressure.
No
pressure.
Oh my gosh. No, you're great. Okay. So I have repeated your love story to so many people because it's one of my absolute favorites of all time. And Sandy, you have got to start. How did you meet Brendan?
We met when I hired him as a bartender in the restaurant I was managing in San Francisco.
Let's go back for one moment.
Let's let that soak in. For a minute.
Let us soak in. You were his boss.
I was his boss, yeah.
Okay.
But I was far too professional to date someone who worked for me.
No hanky-panky.
No, there was no hanky-panky. And the day that he found better hours at a bar up the street, he came in to tell me he was leaving, and I started blushing. And he noticed I was blushing. Then he started blushing, and we were kind of both going, okay, well, anyway, see you later.
No way. Okay, wait. We have to back up, though. Okay.
Oh.
When
I'm blushing right now.
Oh, my gosh, it's so cute. Okay, and how long have you guys been married? 35 years, right, this year?
Uh-huh.
Okay, 35 years this year. When he first came in, though, to interview for the job, did you find him attractive? And is it okay that we mentioned that you're a little older?
It's perfectly okay. The first time he came in, I was in my tiny little office in the back of the restaurant, and someone came in and said, there's a guy out here who wants to apply. I went, no, I'm not doing that right now. And so we sent him away.
Really?
And he came back.
Can I interject real quickly?
Yes, of course.
The reason I knew about this job, I was working at another restaurant job down in near Pacifica. And the San Francisco Chronicle read every day, and there was a feature article about this new restaurant that Sandy was the general manager of, and that had her picture there. And I said to my brother, who I was living with my brother in his garage, frankly, but I said, "Wow, I could work for her."
No, wait, I did not even know this part of the story. No way.
Yeah. I have a copy of the article, and so that's how I came to go in for the interview, and it was kind of a hot place. It was called Max's Opera Cafe, and it was at the time it was kind of novel. Some of the servers and the other staff sang opera. They would put down their tray and bust out in an aria, and they had a full-time piano player and everything. So, and we were right next to the Symphony Hall and the Opera House in San Francisco. So it was a good gig, and so it was a Hail Mary pass. I didn't think I was going to get this job, and at first, it wasn't looking good.
I hadn't laid eyes on him. Not that is how I hired people, but
but we have to. So, but Brendan, how old are you at this time? Are you in college?
I'm 25.
Okay, you're 25. So you graduated from college and you're working.
And I'm driftless. I'm kind of a drifter.
You're driftless.
Mysterious drifter. Yeah.
And you were not that matters so much, but
33.
Okay, so you were 33. He's 25. He's you're a general manager.
8.5 years older than him.
Which is, oh my gosh! I mean, you guys have the sweetest love story. The sweetest. But I only point that out though because you're out of college and you're working, because I waitress too and bartender for I don't know how many years after I graduated, to break into TV or to our industry. But so you're the general manager of this hot new place. So you send him away the first time because you're like, I'm not dealing with this right now. All right, pick up the story from there.
And a similar situation, I'm back in my little office in between because he knows you don't walk into a restaurant at lunchtime or dinner time. So it was late afternoon when I'm back doing my paperwork. And the same person comes back to me and says, that guy's back again. I went, okay, fine. I'll go talk to him. And I found some hours for him somehow.
Okay, so did you, and I know, of course, it was all professional, but
It
when
was.
you first laid eyes on Brendan, were you like, wow,
Well, he's an attractive guy, of course. And I liked,
still is, Bren.
and I
still is.
liked, having, presentable people in the restaurant. He didn't get a lot of hours. We only had like almost a part-time gig for him. But we spent time together going down and pulling the liquor and just, doing things that you normally go through doing during the course of your day in a restaurant. And we got to know each other. And I remember my girlfriend saying to me once, what about Brendan? And I went, no, he works for me. No. And then he started his shift up the street at the new restaurant. And I hightailed it up there as quick as I could with a friend, say, you want to go have a drink with me? And I'd sit at his bar and I started flirting with him.
No way.
Right away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but Brent, I want to ask you, when you finally did get a look at Sandy after you saw her in the paper, and you finally do get it face to face, was she just as beautiful as you imagined?
Yeah, no, it was kind of an instant crush. It really was. But again, she puts off a very professional vibe, and so I never saw an opening during the whole time we worked together because I just thought she'd get mad at me.
So how long?
cut my hours or something. I don't know. So I just kept my distance. But after I left, then game on.
Game on. Okay,
Yeah.
So how long did you guys work together? Like how many months?
It was about 9 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not quite a year.
Enough to get to know each other.
Which is so sweet. And so, I mean, I think that, that is honestly, and you guys would know much more than me, but the base of a great relationship. So you guys get to know each other.
Yeah.
You with your girlfriend is like, come on, hightailing it down to that bar.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you so pleasantly surprised to see her there?
Yeah. You mean, I'm sorry.
At the bar, like after you leave and you start your new job.
Oh, when she comes in with her friends.
Yes,
Yeah. I
yes.
was happy to see her. I wasn't so happy to see her friends, but no, I understood why she came in. For moral support, you had to have a wingman, right?
I did. Bartenders tend not to take breaks during their shift.
Yeah.
It's just not something they normally
Yeah,
do.
if
They
you're
might
working, it's distracting.
run out for a minute to, have a smoke or get a quick bathroom break or something.
But it was a night or two after that we started dating.
But
Okay.
he found ways to take a break and go across the street and sit down and have a cup of coffee with me and talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that sweet and precious? So who asked you out on the first date? So who did it?
Well, all I remember, I don't know. All I remember is that we were in your car and my girlfriend was in the back seat. And I don't know why she was with us. That's all I remember.
Is that Marcia?
No, it was Erica.
Oh, gosh.
Hello, Erica, if you're watching. Okay, so for some reason she's in the car,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
She's in the back seat going, why is she giggling constantly? Stop that. That's not who you are. I couldn't stop being giddy.
because you had a crush.
I did.
So then you guys start to date.
Yeah, and it was it was pretty fast, and I mean I kind of moved in pretty quickly, didn't I? There you had I mean I had a studio apartment in Haight-Ashbury.
You're way ahead of yourself here.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't move in until we got engaged.
Oh, is that right? Well, I spent so much time there though.
So
right?
it felt like
he
he
I
was living
didn't
there.
give up my place. I had a studio apartment, and you had a nice one bedroom in Opera Plaza. But it was serious. But then this is where I think the story gets interesting, and I think your listeners and your viewers might find this kind of interesting because
Here, Brent, do you need a little bit more?
Yeah, a
wine
little
as
more of the grease.
Yes, as we
hit me with the
as
grease.
we share this part of the story. Yes.
So
Yes,
I'll
okay.
let Sandy pick it up, but I'll just set the stage.
Yes.
Because we had an age difference. I'm 25, she's 33, going on 34, and so everything's great. We're having a wonderful thing, but she feels the need. And I probably did have the need to where are we going with this? Is this just another sort of romance? And just in terms of biology and so on, if you want to get married and have a family, you need to sort of head in that direction. So take it from there.
Yes, please, Sandy.
Well, we had been dating for several months, and it was pretty clear we weren't seeing other people. We were seeing each other several times a week. So I said, I want to talk to you about something. And he went, oh, great.
Is money missing from the register? Oh, no, I don't.
That was a different conversation. I said, I really would like to know where we're going with this. And if we get down the road farther and discover that this is a serious relationship, that it's that it's something you want to pursue, because I'm ready. You may not be. When I was your age, I wasn't ready, so I would understand that. Very patronizing. But I did, I said that. But, I don't want to get a year down the road and then you go, oh, no, I'm not ready for anything permanent. And he went, oh, can I think about it? I said, sure, think about it. And without me asking, about 3 days later, he came back and said, I've been thinking about what you said, and I want to keep going. I said, awesome. So we got almost a year after that. We sat down again.
Because I didn't make
we didn't talk about it at all.
Because I was an idiot.
No, but wow. Okay, so a year
I sat down again.
A year passes,
and I said, remember how that conversation we had back then? He went, yeah. Well, it's time to decide, because what you see is what you get. I don't know if you've got to know who I am by now and how you feel. And so we spent a sleepless night, and the conclusion was that he wasn't ready, and that was it.
And that was based only on this notion that I was too young. Mm-hmm. It wasn't for lack of any love and affection at that point at all, but it was the sense that, like, man, I'm only 25 or 26 at this point. That's too young to get married. And so I kind of struggled with it a little bit. I just didn't feel I was ready necessarily. And so we split for a short, miserable period of time.
Neither of us can remember exactly how long it was, but it was maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And that had to have been very hard. So it was clearly very hard because you missed her. And Sandy, you, of course, you already knew that here's the guy that I do want to marry and to be the father of my children. That's why you've had these, talks with him. But for you, Brendan, you just mentioned you felt you were too young, but those 2 months or 3 months apart.
They were totally important. They had to happen for me because, I wasn't inactive. I continued to date other people, but the contrast was so obvious that this was the one. I missed her horribly, and everybody else seemed like a really poor substitute. And so after about 3 months, San Francisco is kind of a small town,
mm-hmm.
Contrary to its size. We kept running into each other. We couldn't avoid each other. It was so weird, just in different situations.
Right.
But so anyway, I came back, humbled and hoping that she had not, in the meantime, embarked on another relationship. And
he asked me to have dinner.
Yeah.
So we had dinner, and then we, went back and we're sitting on the couch at my place, and I'm like, hey, so what is this now?
I immediately start procrastinating again.
No way.
I really did.
And I said, look, buddy.
Then she made me
now
marry
or
her.
never.
She made me marry her. That's basically what happened at that point.
I did.
Yeah.
And so he did propose that night. And
that night when
mm-hmm. And
did you have a ring?
No.
No. We were watching Chuck Woolery, Love Connection in bed, and we turned the TV down,
okay.
and then
mm-hmm.
And then I proposed.
Otter's going to use that. My content writer's going to use that line.
It was the most unromantic.
It wasn't. We made up for it later.
Separate beds, twin beds. What are you talking about?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But then after that happened, I said, okay, let's not tell anybody. Because I thought he's going to have, remorseful in the morning. This was I feel like I made him do this. And let's just sit on this for a while, see how it feels. And we did for, I don't know, a week or two or something. Mm-hmm. And then we both were feeling so good about the decision that we started telling people.
Okay, we're going to go to a break in a minute. But before we go to the break, when you proposed, in the twin beds, and when you proposed, did you actually get on your head?
I didn't have a ring though, but
But it was. Did? That's so romantic. I mean, did you?
I did not have a ring.
Yeah, I know you did not have a ring, but
got
did you
down on one knee?
Did you get down on one knee?
Yeah. It was sloppy. It was
so
slapdash. It's what you call slapdash, but it doesn't really matter because it was the moment. It was the commitment, right?
Absolutely.
And I was struck by, after we were engaged, like a light turned on.
Mhm.
And all this pressure and all this uncertainty sort of washed away. And we both really started to enjoy our relationship like
Mhm.
twice as much.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to go to a quick break because I have a lot to talk about. I want to talk about the pressures of age. I think that's and so much
The
more.
age difference?
The age difference and just the pressures of ages. You said you felt like, at 25 you were too young, at 33 you felt the pressure, okay, like as so many of us women feel that you have to have a baby. So we'll be right back.
This podcast is brought to you by Core Shorts.
Me being a professional hockey player, I have had my share of groin injuries in my life. When they showed me this product, I said, oh my God, this is the future. These shorts are exactly what they're meant for, to create some support throughout your pelvis. It's an amazing product. It's not only for hockey, it's for any kind of sports, recreational, postpartum. Women after their pregnancy need support throughout their pelvis. These shorts are creating that support throughout their pelvis. So it could be a mailman, it could be a fireman, it could be someone working in their gardens. Doing anything, if you're active, you need some support throughout your pelvis. That's what Core Shorts were designed.
For more information and to place an order, visit coreshorts.com.
So welcome back. We're having a discussion actually about the whole twin bed situation.
Stop.
So Brendan McLaughlin is my mentor. And Sandy Rarity McLaughlin, his wife, is also one of my mentors. But I have to say, there are people who, I told you guys during the break, that there are people actually who wanted to sit in the audience, but because of COVID, we're being, careful with that. But I am thrilled that Chris Janik, who is a former news director of ours.
Our former news director.
Yes, is not only in the audience, but his wife, Angie Moreski, is the best female breaking news anchor that I've ever met, and you are the best male breaking news anchor.
Angie Moreski is also an amazing investigative reporter,
amazing
and interviewer. She's really super talented.
So I just had to mention that too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now back to Love in America. 35 years. When is your wedding anniversary?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. And I do know that, actually.
I was going to say July 2nd.
June 22nd. So Sandy, when you said that Brendan then actually officially proposed, when did that happen? And did you have a ring when that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, so when did that happen?
Well, but Sandy picked out.
I went and bought my ring because
ring,
I'm way too much of a control freak to have somebody else pick out a ring I'm going to wear every single day. So I picked out my ring, and then he picked it up, and we had a dinner planned, and the ring was hidden in the...
Did I pay for it?
No, I paid for it. You paid for a lot of stuff since then, honey. Don't you worry.
So we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Okay.
We're good. We're pretty good. But no, I had a good job at that time. I was food and beverage director at the Fairmont Hotel on Nob Hill, and he made great money waiting tables and tending bar at another great restaurant after the one that. And but still, we didn't have a lot of disposable income. But then we had a nice dinner, and I think the ring was hidden in the salad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, hidden in the salad.
It was hidden in some.
Very
Yeah,
creative.
was it
There
the
was some-
Caspian? Was that the restaurant?
No.
Were you worried that you'd eat the ring, though, if it was hidden in
Remember
the
the name of the
salad?
restaurant?
Yes, I took the little ashtray out of the drawer and showed you this not too long ago. It's a French name.
Okay.
Anyway, we stole the ashtray off the table because we had ashtrays in 1984.
Yeah, and plus you needed a memento from this,
did.
this major
Le
milestone in your
Tropez,
life.
I want to say.
Saint-Tropez.
Saint-Tropez?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
that's
so
all
the ring was presented, and we started party planning.
And since you are a planner, and I have attended some of your parties since, she's amazing. So how long, where was the wedding? Was it in California?
It was at a place at that time called the Tynan Mansion, which is right on the
Lion Street Steps.
Lion Street Steps, which
which is in Pacific Heights.
many people who've been to San Francisco know where this is. It's near the Presidio, and people exercise going up and down because
Yeah.
It's a
so
series
many
of
stairs.
staircases that go up Pacific Heights Hill. Yeah.
And in fact, we were there summer before last taking some pictures in that very location. And some people stopped and we said, we got married here 35 years ago. And they're like, really?
Oh, that's so cool.
But there was a beautiful mansion. It's privately owned now, right there where everything was outside. It was very foggy and cool, and it was a great party. My good friend did the flowers. My other good friend did the music. My girlfriend did the food. It was but it was a great party. We had a wonderful time.
It was about a $5,000 wedding
Oh, at the most.
at the most.
Really?
Oh, at the
Oh, yeah.
most.
Wow.
And it was great.
To hear that number now, honestly, is
Yeah.
like you think, because, you hear about all these.
That won't buy the flowers now. you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have so much to talk about that as well, because the big announcement at the end about your kids. But I do want to talk about, to me, and I've always thought that the two of you have had one of the most beautiful marriages and relationships that I've ever seen. Like friends, partners. But tell me, I mean, here you are, Sandy, and I sit here and rave about Brendan, of course, all the time. But Sandy, and I hope I don't start crying, I hope you know how much that you have taught me, and the things that you have told me years ago, I still follow to this day. And you are a woman to be deeply admired, and I love you. I can honestly say I love you.
Sarina.
But it's the truth. It's the truth, and it's reflective in your children, and you're awesome. You are awesome.
Thank you. I think you're awesome too.
Oh, I swear I didn't pay her to say that. I swear. But here you are, though, the general manager, right? You have a high-powered job. Brendan wants to pursue his dream of being a broadcast journalist. So you left, right, your job to follow him.
Well, I had 2 kids first.
Wow.
So I quit my job at the Fairmont when I was 8 months pregnant with Caitlin, our oldest, and did some consulting work after that. And Brendan continued his job in the restaurant. At the same time, he was taking classes at San Francisco City College in broadcasting. And you're better to tell that.
So I was doing an internship. I was taking classes at City College and a full-time restaurant hotel job. So, and 2 kids. So that was that was a busy time.
And the kids are really close in age.
They're 15 months apart. Yeah.
Well, Caitlin was born 13 months after our wedding,
Wow.
and Patrick was born 15 months later.
So things were moving fast.
Very fast.
Boom.
Very fast.
But I got a gig. I got my first on-air job in Austin, Texas, and we've both been raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. We have a network of friends. We've never really lived anywhere else, so it was a big move, and we didn't know anything about Austin, Texas. You might as well have said, Sitka, Alaska, as much as I knew about it.
Big cultural change for us.
It was, but it was awesome. I mean, it was, Austin's a great town. But to Sandy's credit, she did. She uprooted. She had no interest in moving anyplace else. She had a big network of friends, and she said goodbye to all that in support of my career move, which was something I'll always appreciate. I mean, that was key. That none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be sitting here. I would have never worked with you.
Right. No, absolutely.
If I didn't have a partner who I should mention, by the way, encouraged me at the very beginning to maybe transition out of the restaurant business and start to get back into writing and journalism, which was kind of my first love in college. So, I mean, I don't take full credit or even half credit for any of my accomplishments career-wise. I had to have a great partner. I had to have Sandy. So anyway, we move up lock, stock, and barrel, 2 little babies to Austin, Texas. And so I'm a reporter, and Austin's not a small market. It's a medium-sized market, but it doesn't pay bupkis, It was, we're a family of 4, and my paychecks every 2 weeks were $600. Yeah. So
every 2 weeks.
It was like a real wake-up call, to the point where, Sandy had to get a waitress job to sort of just make.
Yeah.
And we only had 1 car, so she had to take 2 buses to her.
I went to the transfer station.
You're kidding. No. Wow.
But it's like
Now, in all fairness, this was very short-lived.
it was a short time.
He actually bought a used car because we had so little money, and there you could see the highway flying by.
There's holes in the floorboard.
on the
of this
floorboard.
Volkswagen Jetta.
It was that bad. That car didn't last long, but we were in Austin only 2 years, and by the time we left, he was weekend anchor, and then he was weekend anchor at our next stop in Seattle.
In Seattle, right.
And things, began to improve. So, I have a lot of fun stories about having a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old waiting tables in a city I knew nobody.
It was
and
more
couldn't
fun
get
for
around.
me than her.
It was a lot more fun
Yeah.
for him.
That's
But
true.
every night I turned on my TV, and I taped all of his stories every single night to the 2 kids. I'm like, be quiet, Daddy's on TV.
No, but I think that's the sweetest thing. And that goes to what Brendan said about he couldn't have done all of this without you and having the right partner that is there to help follow your dream.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole thing about and to me, I don't think age matters, right? But I can imagine when you are 25 and you're 33, that there are all these pressures. Like, Sandy, do you think it's unfair that so many women do feel that pressure? Or is that just life?
It is just life. It's biology. But, I mean, it worked out perfectly for me. I wasn't ready until I was ready. And then I found Brendan and it all worked out. Was lucky I didn't have fertility issues. Probably could have if I had waited even a little bit longer. But it worked out perfectly for me. I had a fully formed career by the time I left the restaurant and hotel business, and I was very ready to leave at that point.
Were you ready also in your life, though, I know when you met Brendan, of course, and you felt the strong, strong connection, but were you also ready to get married and have a life, like, no matter what? And I know you're the type of person that would never marry the wrong person just to be married.
No.
You are not that person.
No.
But I guess, am I phrasing the question, Brendan, correctly? Because you're so good.
And we should remind ourselves that, I wasn't out of Harvard Law School and, on a fast track to a partnership. I was a bartender and a waiter at a good restaurant. But I mean, Sandy, I think she gave me credit for having potential, and she believed in me. So
I said, "You're too cute, too smart, and too funny to be waiting tables. What do you really want to do?" And it was as if he was just waiting for somebody to come along and ask him that question, because it just took off from there.
Wow. So, Brendan, what would you say, like, to young men out there that are that age, and and I do think there is a lot of pressure to thinking, oh gosh, I'm too young. But do you feel, because they always say that guys really do know when they find the right girl. Do you think, is that true?
Well, I did fall in love with Sandy. I had fallen in love before, though, as you had, right? It's not like it's, we were both grown-ups and we had some history. But I think at some point part of it is making the decision to choose a partner and make that partnership work. You have to make that affirmative decision and then make that happen. And that's what we both did. I don't spend any time thinking about, like, would there be anybody else? I mean, I that's not something I can even imagine.
I couldn't either with you guys.
I should also point out that we had a lot of compatibility. I think from the very beginning.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about how I make you giggle. You make me laugh too. And
sometimes, yeah, it's a big coup for me if
and
I can get an out loud laugh from him.
And we have different strengths. I mean, Sandy is a manager. She's a leader by nature, by temperament. I mean, it's woven in her DNA. I am not that. I've never had a leadership position. I've never been anybody's boss, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm a really good employee, and that's okay. Not everybody can be a boss.
He's the creative side.
Yeah. So that kind of works, as a partnership, and we have a common background. I mean, we kind of grew up in the same part of the country. Our families were a little bit different. You're from a very small family. I'm from a big, crazy Irish Catholic family, but still, we didn't have a lot of huge differences to overcome in terms of background or temperament. So it makes it easier.
Well, because I was going to ask you guys that, and we could also announce that both of their kids, and Patrick, who's adorable, looks just like Brendan, and Caitlin, who's gorgeous, looks just like Sandy. It's like little Brendan and little Sandy. I mean, they look exactly like you guys, and they both got engaged this year, which is so exciting. Yeah. So they're both engaged to get married. So giving your own kids advice and giving so many people who watch and listen to these podcasts advice on love. And I know, Brendan, you just started answering it, and you gave a very good answer. But to even just go a little bit deeper, what advice would you have for people out there?
For finding the one?
Finding the one and staying and loving America. Like, you guys have been married for 35 years.
We have a couple rules.
Okay.
And I think they're important. They're foundational. One is we agreed early on never to call each other anything worse than jerk. So jerk is like, that's as bad as you can go.
When did you guys agree on that? That's a great.
That was
rule.
early on. It
And
was
effing stupid jerk doesn't count. You can't do that.
No, you can't.
It's just jerk.
You can't. There were some names flying back and forth, and we realized we couldn't remember what we were fighting about. But what we did remember was the name calling, and so we made a rule: let's not do that anymore. And lo and behold, we stuck to it.
Wow.
And then talk about the 7 to 1
so
ratio.
we
Very important.
had read somewhere that this is, you've got to have more positives than negatives. In fact, you need to have 7 times more positive than negatives. So, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a smile. It can be a touch. It can be a wink. It can be just, how was your pickleball game? Any sort of positive during the course of your day. So,
And a negative can also be slight, like, could you empty the dishwasher?
for once in
Or
your
something
life.
for once in your damn life.
So 7 positives in a day.
7 to 1, yeah.
7 to
7 to 1.
If you have
And
one
every single
negative thing
day.
to say about your partner or one negative interaction, you gotta make sure you get 7 good ones in there.
Relationships can
Wow.
handle negativity. They can, and we've certainly had some very honest conversations about things that concern us that don't. It's hard to hear.
We had a knife
sometimes.
fight once.
No, we never had a knife fight. But that's okay. It can, if it's done respectfully and without a lot of yelling and anger, then relationships can handle that as long as you've got all those positives. It's like filling up the piggy bank.
I love those rules. 2 rules. And you've lived by those rules for all these years.
It works.
Love in America. Do you guys have anything you'd like to add before we? I mean, I know there's so much I could still talk to you guys
I
about.
don't know. I mean,
Love in America.
this isn't very encouraging to anybody, but I feel really lucky that I found this one here because, I just think she is perfect for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody ever gets that.
I feel lucky too. But even more importantly, because our kids are older, they're 33 and 34, that they have found someone
Yes.
that is they're so compatible with, and they appear to have so much fun with, and they're just good partners all the way around. I'm just thrilled.
They're following their parents' motto. So Patrick's fiance's name is America. How appropriate would it be to have Patrick and America on 11 America? And also Caitlin and Sam. And as everybody knows, Sammy is my little Sammy. So I think on the record, Caitlin, Patrick, maybe we could have you guys in together with their fiance.
Oh, wow.
How cool would that be?
And their pets. They have cats
they're-
and dogs. Yeah,
Oh,
we put them
yeah.
on.
Dogs. We have a very, very, very pet-friendly building here as well. Well, Sandy and Brendan, I love you both with all my heart and
We
soul.
love you too.
We love you too,
Oh my
Sarina.
gosh. Oh gosh. I'm so proud of myself that I didn't cry throughout this whole podcast. But thank you so much for being here on Love in America.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks, Sarina.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And thanks so much for supporting us. You can follow me on all my social media platforms. And again, thanks so much.